Hi, my name's Droolbatz. If you are familiar with my channel, thank you so much for watching. If you are not, it's so nice to meet you. I watch a lot of horror movies, and as a result, I have a lot of opinions, so I like to share what I know. Hope you enjoy. Today I'm going to be discussing the 2006 movie, The Covenant. I'm going to just briefly talk about its premise, its production value, and finally how it compares, stands apart from or blends into other movies of the genre, etc. Hope you enjoy. There are a group of 4 or so boys, probably seniors in high school. They're all good buddies. They've grown up together. They've got a very tight bond. They are going to a boarding school somewhere in New England. It's in modern times, but the town's got an old name like Ipswich or something like that. So oh, there's history here. And basically, it's revealed through a bunch of stunts and escapades that these boys are the descendants of some of the families who survived the Salem witch trials. These families basically survived. They were actual witches, but they survived by taking a covenant of silence so that they would survive. And so basically nobody knows they're witches, and they go to great lengths to kind of not get out of control with their powers. That said, when a boy who has magic turns 13, he gets kind of a taste of how it'll go, and his powers don't fully mature till he turns 18. It's called ascending, and that's when he truly gets all his crazy powers. And this group of boys, they're all good friends. They all go to the same school, but they're approaching their ascending. The big thing about the powers is the more you use them, the more addictive they are, and it kind of can be like, oh, are you controlling the power, or is the power controlling you type of thing. Also, there is a physical toll for using your powers too much. Using your powers too much will turn you into a shriveled up, dried out old man, and it's kind of icky. So as these boys are approaching their ascending, weird stuff starts going on at their school. They start thinking, oh my gosh, one of us is doing crazy magic and killing people. Why is he doing that? Who is it? So who is doing all this crazy stuff? Who could it be? Oh, that's the premise. So I typically try to review lesser known films that are more like B or D type films. This movie clearly had a Hollywood budget. They used a lot of CGI right off the bat, which in horror movies that can go a little bit wonky. However, they very clearly had the budget to pull it off, so it was really high quality CGI, and I actually thought the special effects were quite good in this movie, especially considering it came out in 2006. The movie was very, very atmospherically rich. However, the explanation for everything that was going on was kind of rushed, felt kind of stilted. It almost felt like I was coming into a show that had been on for 1 or 2 seasons, and it was in its the beginning of the 3rd season, and there was a lot going on that I didn't really know what was happening per se, just because the exposition wasn't there. It didn't really make you lose sense of the film. It just kind of was this is interesting, and it feels kind of pushy. That said, there was a lot of really effective shot variety. The use of rain in this movie, I don't know if it was raining when they were filming and they just rolled with it, or if it was intentional, but it was raining in a lot of the outdoor scenes, and so shots that I feel could have been stagnant because there was the rain falling, and it clearly wasn't CGI rain, it was actual rain with the backsplash off the sidewalk and everything. It made the shots visually more interesting, so I thought they kind of avoided pitfalls like that, and it was just really cool to see how they used the rain to make certain shots more interesting. There's a scene where some kids are kissing in a car, and shots where the camera guy's outside and you see them in the car. It's that's, everyone does that, that's boring, but the way the rain was made it more interesting just visually, and they didn't linger too long or anything. The movie had some star power in it. A lot of the actors were well known. 2 that really stand out to me that would be names you guys might know would be Sebastian Stan. Yeah, the Winter Soldier was in this movie. And also, similarly, was Chase Crawford, also known as Nate Archibald from Gossip Girl. And I was like, oh my gosh, Chase Crawford's in this. One thing that was kind of interesting to me, and I'm not really sure what the logic here was the movie was rated R. Usually they're rated R for violence, swearing, or nudity. This movie really didn't have that much swearing. I don't really remember any. And the violence, it was all like CGI violence, really, so, you know, not that bad. There was some kind of voyeuristic type, like, it wasn't like true like nudity, but it was still like, like there's a scene where this girl is in like a locker room or a shower room or something, and she's got like this glass door on the shower closed, and it's all fogged up, so like you can't really see anything, but you can kind of see like the full shot, which is like, And there's another scene where like the camera guy is going through this locker room, and like you just see a bunch of guys' butts, and it's like I don't know, Tina Belcher would like this movie, I guess, but it was like there wasn't anything like truly gross about it, so I'm almost like, why didn't they just not include those shots and then give it a PG-13 rating? Because I feel like this movie really would have appealed to like teenagers at the time, especially considering like, you know, Chase Crawford, he's, you know, Gossip Girl. I don't know if this was before or after or in the middle of his Gossip Girl days, but, you know, like, there were some fine-looking actors and actresses that would have appealed to the teen audiences, and I think by making it rated R, they kind of eliminated that, and I think people who are like, oh, I'm going to see a movie rated R for nudity expected more, so I just wasn't really sure what the logic was behind that, but it wasn't so bad it like made me uncomfortable, but it was still just like, what are y'all guys doing? Who planned this? Anyway, finally, I'm going to briefly address how this movie stands apart from or blends into other films, movies, TV shows, etc. I might be spoiling stuff, so if you are going to watch this movie or you don't want it spoiled, please take this cue and leave. Come back and watch some other videos, though. Okay, are they gone? Okay. Surely they're gone. Okay. So in this movie, there are several, like, new students, including, like, a girl that one of the guys has a crush on and, like, asks on a date. One new kid got killed and was one of the people where they're like, oh, someone used magic on him. Which one of you punks was it? And things like that. One of the newcomers is actually the guy doing magic and killing people, not one of the people already in the secret covenant. He killed his parents and like usurped their powers on top of his own. He's a power hungry dude. Because he killed his parents, they couldn't warn him that if you use your powers, they become really addictive, and also you turn into a shriveled up old man. So now he's like, oh, I need more power so that I don't use up all of mine and become a shriveled old man. So he basically like kidnaps one of the guy's girlfriends and is like, hey, I know you're a witch and you're ascending. When you ascend on your birthday, I want you to will your power to me, or else I'll kill her, and your mom, and all your friends, and everyone. I'll just kill them all. Ha 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 ha. And so they have to fight him. One of the kids his dad, they said his dad had died. Turns out his dad isn't dead. He's just this 44-year-old who literally looks like he's 120. He's so gross and shriveled looking, is still alive. And as his son is kind of coming into his power and having this huge telekinetic battle with this newcomer, he's like, oh, I will my power to my son. And suddenly the son like gets this kick of power and eliminates the new guy. That's the whole plot. It's really not that complicated. The movie had a very similar vibe to The Secret Circle and Gossip Girl. If you're not familiar with Gossip Girl, you totally should be. It's a big deal. If you're not familiar with The Secret Circle, it was canceled after one season, so I feel like not as many people know about it, but it had a very similar premise to this movie, but it kind of encapsulated things a little bit nicer, I thought. The Secret Circle is basically, in this town, a bunch of kids who are descendants of families who have magic powers have to join a coven between them and like make their power stronger, or if they stay separate their powers are weaker, but they have freedom, so they don't have to like constantly be voting on stuff and all that, but also they're like better targets for people who are trying to kill them. When they're in the coven, they're like stronger, so they don't have to like worry as much about getting murdered by demons and stuff. That's basically the concept. That movie was set in kind of a coastal region, so it utilized a lot of rain, and it utilized a lot of CGI. I think that's actually why it got canceled, was the CGI was so expensive. They're like, we can't do another season, so they left us on a cliffhanger. It was very similar to Gossip Girl when it was in the school. They would wear like uniforms, and like the hallways architecturally were very similar to the school in Gossip Girl, and you know, some of the like characters quipping back and forth at each other was very Gossip Girl-ish. I'm not just saying that because Chase and Sebastian are in this movie. I thought The Secret Circle, premise-wise, was very similar, but that had a, like, not a preppy vibe at all, but more when the kids are out on the town and, you know, like, wearing their man tank tops and their leather jackets and they're hanging out and getting into fist fights. It was very similar to The Secret Circle. One way that this movie did kind of stand out to me was that it's basically dealing with the concept of a coven of witches, but they're entirely male. And they specifically specified in this movie that every generation has one child, only one child, you know, in each family, and it's always a boy. And he gets the power. I thought that was just kind of like interesting because I know historically everyone has been accused of being witches, but women tended to get the shorter end of that stick, if you know what I mean. A lot of movies and shows as a result have kind of veered towards either all female covens or covens of males and females. I've pretty much never seen all males, so I thought it was really interesting that they did that. I didn't necessarily think it was like out of a sexist thing or anything. That's interesting, and they tried to bring a new spin to it. They tried to keep it kind of, you know, edgy, like a boy movie, so as a result, there's a lot of, like, fighting and, like, slamming and crashing cars and stuff. There was no spells, like, no, like, incantations, or, like, I'm gonna do this with a charm. It was literally all just telekinesis and my dad, Altogether, if I had to rate this movie, I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. The acting wasn't the greatest I've ever seen. Chase Crawford has like 3 lines in this whole entire movie. Like 3 lines, it's like, you know, he's just there so people can look at his face and his abs. But anyway, I was still pretty impressed. It was a very solid movie, but I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It's not the greatest, but it's a solid movie. I felt kind of misled because I had thought it was a horror movie and it had been advertised that way. It's more just like a supernatural, edgy, dark, supernatural type movie. Really wasn't scary at all. I review horror movies. There's a reason I don't really go into other movies. So I felt kind of like a hack being like, oh man, but I watched the movie and I was like, is this even horror? And I was like 2/3 through before I like looked it up on my phone while I was watching. And it's like, yep, this is a supernatural action movie. I'm like, okay. But I still thought it would be good to kind of discuss and just bring up The Secret Circle to anybody's awareness. If y'all have not seen it, it's an excellent show. I do like it, and I think other people would like it too. Not like true horror, but it's a solid movie to watch. It doesn't really delve into witchcraft at all. It's more telekinetic, throwing stuff around, and at one point they say Salem a couple of times. It's really not witchy, if that makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please stop back by for more. If you have any opinions on this movie, let me know. This movie made me think of The Secret Circle, and now I'm sad about that, so if you know any movies that are similar to The Secret Circle, like, leave me some suggestions. I'd love to get more things to watch. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking and subscribing if you are so inclined. I really hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. Bye.